Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan Newbrough, the CEO of the Colorado Springs Philharmonic, and we are delighted to have a brilliant concert this weekend featuring a new composer to the orchestra, Jesse Montgomery, a work by Haydn, and then finishing with Mendelssohn's Italian Symphony. And I'm joined by our Associate Conductor Thomas Wilson, who's the maestro of this program, and our principal cellist, Leah Hansen, principal oboe Noah Kay, who are both featured in this weekend's performance. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here, and let's talk about what's expected for this program. And Thomas, I wonder if you can walk us through briefly the Jesse Montgomery piece called Starburst and the Italian Symphony by Mendelssohn.
Well, Jesse Montgomery is probably one of the hottest composers in New York City right now. Her music is just emanating everywhere. Orchestras are playing it everywhere. It's just so enjoyable. This is, I think, the third piece I've conducted, maybe fourth of hers. And this little piece, it's only 3 minutes and it's just for strings. It's called Starburst. And so, a starburst is like a sudden episode of star formation. And so there's a lot going on, lots of action, but it's all science. It's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be necessarily an experience about, humans. It's experiment in ideas. And yet she writes music that's very human and very exciting. And it's a great little piece for strings with a lot of interesting techniques, a lot of harmonics, of different kinds of harmonics, and just really great experiments in rhythm. It's a real challenge. That 3-minute piece, we gave it 45 minutes the other night, and we still have a ways to go. So it's a challenge, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a great way to open a concert. Very brief handshake, though. And then, of course, the centerpiece, the Italian Symphony of Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn's parents sent him on a tour of Europe about 1830-ish or so, 29, 30, 31, 3 years. And he absolutely loved Italy. And so he composed this fantastic symphony. In fact, many people feel that the Fourth Symphony, the Italian Symphony, is his greatest symphony. And of course, there's plenty to argue about. But much like his Fifth Symphony, so his Fifth Symphony, he never published in his lifetime. He didn't like it. He didn't want his name on it, didn't want to claim it. And then it gets published after he dies, and it becomes a big hit. Same with the Fourth Symphony, same with the Italian Symphony. And one of the things I like about him is he always had so much self-doubt. So he was always trying to make things better. He made a lot of revisions after the premiere, but he still didn't let it into publication. And yet it's probably one of the absolute greatest symphonies that we have. There's challenging music for absolutely everyone. And there's so much joy in the first movement. And there's reason to believe that maybe the first movement was originally the fourth movement. Maybe he was going to end with the first movement and just rearranged it. And then, we have a fairly dark second movement, but still very beautiful, absolutely gorgeous third movement. And then this really, really energetic, really exciting Saltarello, which is a traditional Italian dance in the last movement with a lot of notes and a lot of challenge for everybody. So those pieces are going to be a blast.
Well, we are really excited about this. Now, but we've invited Leah Hansen and Noah Kay here for a special purpose, and that's because we're also performing the Haydn Sinfonia Concertante. And so for people who are not familiar with what a Sinfonia Concertante, we've heard of a symphony, right? But we're not familiar with the Sinfonia Concertante. What is that form, and what makes that special for this program?
You want to take it away, Noah?
I can take a stab at it.
Yeah.
Symphonia Concertante, the concertante, at least to my knowledge, refers to a group of soloists with an orchestra backing, rather than just an individual soloist. So we have 4 soloists for the program. It's our concertmaster, Michael Hansen, and we have Leah on cello, and we have myself on oboe, and our principal bassoonist JJ Session on bassoon. So speaking of joy, it's really, really a joyful piece. Very few moments and only passing moments of, what we think of as sad music. But it's really just a blast. And one of my favorite things about it is just how well it blends the chamber music experience with playing with the full ensemble. We've rehearsed on our own several times, and been really, really a lot of fun just getting to really treat it like a great piece of chamber music, and sort of try to take that approach as best we can to the full ensemble.
Leah, let me ask you, would you say that you are a quartet backed by the orchestra, or are you 4 individual soloists backed by the orchestra?
I would say that it's a lot more like a quartet backed with the orchestra, because there's a lot of overlap between our parts. There's a lot of playing just amongst ourselves, and then the orchestra kind of comes in every so often and plays in the middle and that kind of a thing. It's really rare that only one person is playing in the quartet. So I would say that it's definitely a quartet, not just 4 soloists.
Sure. Now, this is one of our, I think, one of our first opportunities to hear you both, or for many audience members to hear you both in a soloistic capacity. What's it like for you being out front in this role?
It's scary as always. I think it's especially scary because, at least for me, I don't know about for Noah, but this is the first time that I've done a solo like this ever since the pandemic. So it's definitely kind of a familiar experience, but also kind of scary and new feeling. So I'm excited, but watch out for my nerves.
Well, this quartet, I can say, they sound amazing. Right from the very first time they came in rehearsal, they sounded fantastic. And this all, the Sinfonia Concertante sort of evolves out of the Baroque Concerto Grosso, where you have multiple soloists as well. And it's a form that I absolutely love, because then you not only have the interaction between soloist and orchestra, but you have the interaction between multiple soloists. And so it's just fun watching these 4. We sit so far apart when we're in the orchestra, and yet they came together as a team, and they're interacting, and they're clearly enjoying it, and they're clearly feeding off of each other's energy, and and coming up with ideas and sharing things, and you can hear these ideas being passed around in real time. It's a blast. It really is.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And Noah, as I think you mentioned earlier, it's not just the 2 of you, it's also JJ Session, our principal bassoon, and of course, concertmaster Michael Hansen, who are joining us. They weren't available to join us for this call, but I am grateful to the 4 of you for stepping out front and giving us your all this weekend. So, final words from any of you?
I guess the only thing I want to add is, yes, it's like a concerto performance. It's like a solo performance, which can be nerve-wracking. But I think just having the quartet on stage just provides a little bit more comfort and a little bit more support, and you don't really feel like you're all alone out there, and it's like a true collaboration, which I think just makes it all that more fun.
Thanks, Noah. Thomas, Leah, final words?
Leah first.
Well, I completely agree with what Noah said. It's completely true. It's like having a group of friends with you and kind of improvising off of each other on stage. So I mean, what could be more fun?
A group of friends. We have a lot of visiting guest soloists. They come in from Europe, or they come from New York or other places. And so this is an opportunity to feature our own. And that's what's exciting to me. And so when you say a group of friends, I would say that's the feeling that we're all going to have on stage and in the audience, because we see you all the time and we know you're playing. And so I'm just delighted as a member of the audience to be able to hear you four play alongside the orchestra. Thomas, give us the true final word, sir.
I think it's a very different program as well than what we've been doing for a while. We've been playing a lot of pretty big, heavy, late romantic, early contemporary works, big orchestras. This is a smaller orchestra, a little more fleet, a little lighter sound, and lighter repertoire, but really excellent, just excellent music, a true breath of fresh air. And I'm really going to be interested in how they respond to the Mendelssohn. Not only is it one of the best symphonies, but it's sort of daring. Symphonies changing key as they go, or at least changing mode. Most symphonies, if they're going to do that, like Beethoven's Fifth, C minor to C major, Brahms' First does the same thing. Mendelssohn did something pretty risky here, starting in A major but ending in A minor, going from, instead of dark to light, to going from light to dark. So it's an interesting way to end a concert. So we're going to have to really play the heck out of that saltarello and make it super exciting, but I think we're getting there.
All right. Well, friends, we are looking forward to it. Thank you for joining me. This is a great preview for the weekend, and we're grateful again that you're stepping out front to perform with the orchestra. Thank you again.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Mhm.